The first lab assignment has a couple different exercises that you will need to complete. And you're going to start by creating a new program. You're going to call it Chapter 1, Exercise 1. And so the way you would do that, if you're in Visual Studio, it's just File, New, and Project. Okay, and this is going to be a console app. Language is C#. And you can even come over here and choose console. Then you're going to choose next. And this is where we put in the name. And then you're going to want to choose the location. It is going to store the project folder. By default, it is going to store it under the C drive, users, your username, and in a source folder. In that folder, there is a repos folder, and that is by default where it puts this. You can click on the ellipsis, which is the 3 periods. And so you can kind of see, where it's going. And I can show you, at least on my system. There's my C drive, users. There's my username. And then if we scroll down a little bit, not too far, you should see source somewhere in here. There it is. And then inside source, I have repos. And this is by default where it's going to put it. I have quite a few classes that use Visual Studio. And so I've created some folders. And so I select the folder for this class, and that is where I would put the exercise. And you can see I already have one in here. So I'll select the folder, but I'm going to kind of name it a little bit different because it won't like it, if I've got the same name in there already. So I'm going to go ahead, click on next. And, depending on when you do this, they come out with new versions of .NET all the time. So you're going to choose whatever the, most recent one is that has long-term support. Make sure you turn on do not use top-level statements because that hides a lot of the program structure from you. And I would like you guys to be familiar with this structure of your program. I don't want things hidden. So we're going to go ahead and click on create. And this is what it has created by default. So I'm going to move this out of the way. And for this first assignment, I do have you copying some code. And then you will read the comments and kind of do what it says below them. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, so you should be able to highlight it and either press Control and the letter C or right click and copy. And then you're just going to paste right over the top. So Control and the letter V, or, highlight it, right click and paste. And so I'm kind of walking you through what you need to do here. And it says create a string variable named emp name and set it equal to your name. So what you need to do then is use the string data type, and the variable should be called emp name. Set that equal to your name. So in double quotes, key in your name. And don't forget to put the semicolon at the end. And then after the next one, create a string variable named title, set it equal to developer. Okay, so you're going to basically do the same thing. And it's kind of walking you through how to do all of this. And then we get down here, create an integer variable named weekly pay. And this one is going to be equal to a calculation. So it simply is going to be integer weekly pay, but that equal to hourly pay times hours worked. And hourly pay and hours worked are flagged here because I haven't created them yet. You're actually directed to create hourly pay here. And you'll notice once I create that, the little error goes away. And the same thing will happen to hours worked once that is created. Okay, and then finally, this last little comment section is telling you how to print the information out. And you'll be using a console.write line for that. Okay, and so I've even given you an example of how this should look. So this should make it fairly easy for you to get it correct. Do not turn in programs that do not run right, because I'm going to make you redo them. I actually check everything you turn in. So if it doesn't work right and you can't figure it out, please ask for help. That is what I'm here for. Mac users, you're going to have to do this in VS Code. And this is 100 times easier in Visual Studio than it is in VS Code. Okay, so if at all possible, try to use a PC for any of the .NET and C# programming. But I did give you an example of what it would look like because when you do it in VS Code, the terminal is where you're going to see the output instead of having, a window pop up. For your second exercise, you can set the code up similar to exercise 1. And then I've listed variables that you need to create and the data types. And I'm not telling you what to enter, so you can just make information up, or you can actually put in, your real information, totally up to you. But once you have created the variables and you have, initialized them to values, you're going to display the information back to the user. And in order to help you out, I have given you some examples on the following page of, how that should look. Okay, so here is the values, and here is the display back. And that is the first assignment. And again, make sure that everything runs correctly before you turn it in. And the directions for submitting the work are in the Dropbox.